We'll continue on with our post-race media availabilities for tonight's Food City 300. We are now joined by our race winner, Kyle Busch, and his crew chief, Chris Gale. Kyle, you now have a track record 8 NASCAR Xfinity Series wins here at Bristol. This is also your 150th NASCAR National Series win. How does it feel to be back in victory lane here?
Pretty good. You know, this is certainly, one of those places that we definitely always circle on the calendar to try to come to and race for victories. And tonight was one of those nights, you know, it just, you're never really sure how it's going to play out or how it's going to work out. But you stay in the game till the end, and sometimes it's your night. And tonight we can certainly take that with us and know that it was our night. You know, just the 60, obviously they were trying. And I give them full credit for trying the effort there and trying to go the whole way on fuel like that. They're at the end running that many laps, and they're fast. You know, they certainly had really good speed on those old tires. I mean, there were sometimes I probably could have made some moves on them, but I just didn't quite get a good enough run off the corner to make anything that was going to work. You know, and then it seemed like he kind of started to get away from me a little bit there when I got bottled up in some traffic. And then there at the end, I wasn't sure if we were going to have the opportunity to get back to him or not with. I didn't see very many lap cars when that caution came out with 4 to go that were coming up next. So all in all, just a great night. You know, Chris and the guys made some really good calls on the car for me and made some adjustments to help me out for being too loose in the long run, and that really worked for me. So Monster Energy Camry and Victory Lane always looks good here in Bristol.
Chris, tell us a little bit about the late race strategy and your view from the pit box.
Really, from a strategy standpoint, there wasn't a whole lot there. I knew, you know, they limit you to 3 sets of tires, so we kind of knew we were coming when that caution came on the last stop. I think you see the 60 was the only person who tried that, and obviously almost made it work. But really, I mean, our car was off most of the night, you know. I mean, we were loose to start and looser than we expected to be, and we had to do a lot of adjustments on it tonight with only 3 pit stops. I mean, we'd probably been better off to do less practice, because I don't know if what we really worked on in practice is what we needed for racing tonight. But, you know, he hung in there. We knew we were going to have a long run at the very end, so we kind of wanted to get ahead of the balance problems we were fighting. And we might have gone a little too much, but he also did a good job saving tires, and it worked out well.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up to questions. Please state your name and affiliation. Start in the back with Mike.
Mike Neff from FrontStretch.com. Kyle, Buescher was kind of slowly pulling away from you there. Your crew was keeping you abreast of the fact that he was saving. Was there a part of a thought in your mind to let him go ahead and burn his stuff up, knowing you'd probably get a late race caution, or was he just that much that he was able to pull away from you that whole time?
Early in the run, when we first came and got tires and those guys stayed out and he stretched a straightaway on me, I was saving tires. You know, I knew, well, we thought that no matter what, they were going to have to come down, and so that was ultimately just going to hand me the lead. So we were just saving our stuff. I was just racing the guys behind me at that point, you know, just looking at Denny and looking at Larson and seeing what I needed to do in order to judge my gap off of those guys. I just let the 60 go, you know. But once we got a couple more of those cautions and came down to the last, I think we had a restart with about 35 to go or something, that's when I knew it was go time. You know, I was going to have to pressure him. And I was on him the whole run. I felt like, you know, there was an opportunity that he kind of got away from me a little bit, maybe a car length and a half or two, with about 6 to go through some lap cars. But then I didn't know if we were going to be able to run him back down or not, but there was a caution with 4 to go, so that became irrelevant. But he ran a great race. I mean, he was fast and did a really good job. I'm still shocked how fast he was on those old tires, and I could see sometimes when I can get close enough to him and I could push him through the corner or pressure him enough through the corner, he can make mistakes. And I was just hoping that one of those was going to be big enough that I was going to have a run on him and I could get by him. But it never transpired until that restart where he ran out.
Kyle, Rick Dollar with NetRadioDogs.com. A lot of boos and a lot of cheers out there, but I'll quote Dale Earnhardt. If you don't hear anything, you're in trouble. And you, my friend, are not in trouble. What are your plans for tomorrow?
We've got a pretty cool intro deal coming for tomorrow. I've got a buddy of mine who's a DJ who made a little mix for me, so be tuned in.
Any additional questions? We'll go to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Kyle, it seemed like that the bottom lane was just that's always been a tough lane here, at least lately, with the restarts. And I'm wondering, will the same thing be as significant tomorrow night, especially with the horsepower reduction, or does that help because it's harder or easier to spin the tires? What are we going to see the same things what we saw? Because for as fast as you were in the tires, you couldn't get by him tonight when you went inside. Is that the same thing going to happen tomorrow night?
Yeah, my restarts were horrible tonight. We got to work on gearing really bad. You know, first gear was just way too tall. Second gear was way too low. And when I'd go to the gas so fast, in second, you know, it would just stumble, it'd fall on its face. And then by that time I'd get run over, you know. So certainly the guys behind me were patient tonight. I appreciate that. They probably helped me more than they hurt me tonight. But it was a bit frustrating with all those restarts. I knew if I could just get one good one and be enough alongside of Buscher getting into turn one, that I'd have an opportunity to be able to cut underneath them and get enough ahead of them down the backstretch, but I just could never get a good restart. So, you know, it wasn't meant to be there tonight. So we'll go back to the drawing board on that and try to fix our issues from tonight. And tomorrow, I don't think it'll be that bad. I think our stuff's geared a little bit better. The bottom lane is just always at a disadvantage. I don't know. I think it's because the bottom lane, you're kind of coming up out of a hole. I mean, it's a slight hole, but you're coming up out of a hole where the top lane, you're either going downhill or you're staying, you know, level plane. So you don't lose that momentum of having to go uphill essentially. So that's just what restarts at Dover, kind of the same way. You know, you got to come up out of that hole.
Final questions? Kyle and Chris, thanks for joining us, and congratulations.
Thank you.